How free games trick you into spending money. Oh boy, what a thing. I feel like people are stupid and they
Why are most
Okay,
free-to-play
I did not
games
mean to play. Stop.
becoming
Pause.
pay to
Pause.
win?
Pause. 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 Okay, the first thing I want to say before this video starts is basically, hey, like people think that like, ooh, a game is free. This is great. Well, there's a famous saying, right? Nothing's free, really free. There's always a catch. Because why would a company ever willingly give you something for free? Well, no, it's usually because they're trying to get you to buy something. So, it's the problem with free games. Also, they're a lot of times pretty trash, but that's just my take on them.
Free-to-play games.
Free-to-play titles.
Free-to-play.
Pay to win.
Paying to win in a video game.
Pay-to-win model.
Games didn't used to be this way. Back in the good old days,
Oh,
there were no
of
loot
course.
boxes, battle passes, or microtransactions. Something changed though, and game companies switched from play to win to pay to win.
The socially accepted way of behaving in your
Wait,
game
did you say
should be
pay to
From
win?
play to win to pay to win.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I don't think a lot of games are pay to win, but who really knows? By the way, the whole loot box thing, I hate when people talk about it like it's still a problem. I mean, yeah, it is in some games. Like, obviously, Counter-Strike has loot boxes, but bro, that was like 2016, 2018 kind of phase. Not really anything nowadays really relevant. So I hate when people say, oh, loot boxes killed gaming. Like, okay, get out of here.
socially accepted way of behaving in your game should be paying.
But what's interesting is that in the beginning, almost every video game was pay to win. Back in the 70s and early 80s, you were most likely to find gamers at an arcade, surrounded by the aroma of heated circuitry and musty carpet. And
There
for
is
those
no way this guy's gonna claim that arcade games are pay to win. Bro, because, well, first off, I mean, if you're skilled enough, you literally could just pay once and beat the game, in theory. I don't know if you can beat them, but, like, there's no... Like, you could get the best score out of everyone, right? The high score by playing once. So you cannot claim that, oh, you have to play a bunch, you have to pay for each attempt, and you have to spend hundreds of attempts to... I feel like he's going there. I don't want him to go there. Please
can't
don't.
imagine the smell or weren't around for the arcade days. Games were different back then. You had to pay to play, but you also had to keep paying if you weren't good. You see, back then, most arcade games used the life system, like Space Invaders, Pac-Man, or Time Crisis. And these games had only one goal: keep customers paying. They wanted people to fail, because this was how arcades made back their money on cabinets that could cost up to 10 grand. This is also why you'd see 30 people craning their neck to watch one guy for hours. Dumping quarter after quarter every few minutes as a teenager was pricey. But with the rise of home gaming in the 80s and 90s, arcades started dying off. Why spend all your lunch money?
I'm not gonna lie, dude. Every time I've gone to like a retro arcade or a vintage, I don't know what it's called. I did go one before, and honestly, it did not hit. Now, I wasn't born in the time where arcades were really popular. Well, like arcade games are popular, obviously. So, I mean, to me, it's just all corny. It's like, dude, these games low-key suck. They're not that entertaining. I don't know. Maybe back then it was like, oh, this is the only thing you really had. Wow, how fun. Pac-Man. Pac-Man? Nowadays? No, there's no way I'm playing that willingly. There's no way. Unless I'm playing for free. And I legitimately have nothing better to do. Like, I know that's probably a bad take, but Pac-Man's kind of boring. Just is.
Trying to beat Ninja Turtles when you could buy the game once and play it as much as you want. So with the demise of arcades,
Oh,
pay-to-win
Mortal
model went to hide.
Kombat, bro. Mortal Kombat's so hard. I just remembered that is a game though that yeah, and actually now that I think about it, there is the Mortal Kombat, I don't know which one I played, but the arcade, bro, that was fun because it's like you actually play. I think that's the problem. Like, dude, we need to like playing against actual people like split screen in games is so much fun because of the competitive nature. Like, when you sit behind a computer and the other person you're versing in 1v1's behind a computer in a different part of the planet, it's like, dude, it's not hit the same when you have split screen. I wish that more people did split screen. I don't know, I haven't like played split screen with a friend or anything recently and ever. Like, it's just not normal anymore. It's kind of sad. 'Cause those are the days, go on Call of Duty, go on shipments, 1v1 your friend and lose because I suck. And, like literally every time I had a friend over, it was literally what I'd do. Just go, hey, shipments, verse me.
At least for a little while. What's crazy though is that the pay-to-win model would take almost 20 years to reappear, needing free-to-play games, piracy, and League of Legends for it to come back bigger and badder than ever. What's even more crazy is that it all started with Doom.
What?
There had never been something quite like Doom. It was massive, and it changed video games forever. Doom had top-of-the-line 3D graphics, there was a PC multiplayer, it supported mods, but most importantly, the game was free to play. You have to understand, this was insane to
Wait,
do back then.
what?
You didn't have
was?
free-to-play games.
Oh, wow.
Remember, everything was physical. You purchased games on floppy disks or cartridges. Digital games weren't a thing, so free-to-play games weren't free to distribute, meaning id Software had to buy millions of floppy disks, then print Doom on millions of disks, then ship these disks around the world, spending hundreds of thousands before ever making a dime. So why would they do this? Well, back then developers
You know
were
what's crazy, by the way? Doom is still relevant to this day. Well, how many years later? Like 30 years later, borderline? I just thought I'd point that out because, you know, they're releasing Doom Dark Age, whatever it's called, bro. I'm playing that completely, bro. I'm definitely buying it and actually never playing it because I have a habit with Doom in particular to not play it and buy it. So, it's great. That's a distraction. Yeah, why did they make it free though? Oh, isn't it the first game, by the way, isn't this Doom the first game to have multiplayer or something like that, maybe?
not the ones who made the most money off their games. Most of the money went to the publishers, and developers often got single-digit percentages in royalties. Id didn't want to go this route, so they decided to try the free-to-play model, known as shareware at the time.
Using it before he pays for it. That's the wonderful thing about shareware. He actually has it in his hands, and he sees if it's fit for his purpose, and if it isn't, he doesn't have to use it and doesn't have to pay for it.
The goal was to get Doom in the hands of as many players as possible, and hope they could upsell. A high-risk, high-reward strategy. For those confused on how shareware works, think of it like a phone game. Players only get access to the first few levels, with the rest of the game being restricted behind a paywall. The goal is to get people hooked, and if they want to play the rest of the game, they need to call and pay for a code that unlocks the rest. A little more convoluted than just adding your credit card, but the beauty of this model was that id would get 100% of the revenue instead of splitting it with the publisher. It worked.
Oh, wow.
Doom became a phenomenon. Companies were banning Doom from their networks because LAN games were clogging them up and slowing things down. I mean, the game had been installed on more computers worldwide than Microsoft's then new operating system, Windows 95. So because of the free-to-play model, id was able to upsell millions of
Dude,
copies.
I just can't get over the graphics, dude. Like, it's just hard to imagine as someone who wasn't around in those days, you know, when these games were out, just like, this was the best graphics. It's like, dude, I just can't imagine it. There's no way that... Obviously, it has to start somewhere, but it's just diabolical. Like, wow. There was a point where this looked like that, and it wasn't even that long ago. I mean, I say that, but it's longer than while I've been alive, so it's pretty long in the grand scheme of things from my perspective. But, whatever. The original Doom sold 3.5 million physical copies. What's a shareware copy? Do not
make
know.
tens of millions of dollars and completely change the world of video games. However, id isn't among the modern gaming industry's juggernauts. Why isn't the company still revolutionary, and why aren't people complaining about them like they do EA, Activision, and Ubisoft? There are a few reasons, such as the founding team breaking up or creating some disappointing sequels. However, the main reason is that id got comfortable. They were years ahead of their time with the free-to-play model, but they ignored the main reason for Doom's global success and released their following game, Doom 2, for $40 a piece. They completely forgot the power of the free-to-play model, and as a result, they stopped making free-to-play games. Slowly, the company fell apart. So with the failure of id, the free-to-play model
That's interesting. Oh, actually, it makes sense, because there's going to be people who will just enjoy the game free to play, and they're not going to be... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Then there's the argument, oh, but you could pirate the game. Like, I'm pretty sure this was around, I don't know. I know, like, the early 2000s was, like, the golden age of pirating. I know that. But I don't know when the next Doom came out, so I can't really say, but I know that there was a phase in the internet where it was just, like, pirating was, like, common, in everything. What am I looking at, by the way? These are the graphics. Honestly, not bad. Okay, I shouldn't lie.
major studios would disappear.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at this. I'm like,
apart.
dude.
So with the failure of id, the free-to-play model amongst major studios
Okay, okay. I'm not gonna say what he looked like he was doing. What? Why is the text so hard to read? or markedly in. Okay, but I can still read it. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
videos would disappear in the West, at least until the rise of League of Legends 16 years later.
Oh, come
but in the
on.
meantime, new innovators
That game
would
out of my
eventually find
ears.
success, and it's all thanks to piracy.
Why should I sail with any of you? 4 of you have tried to kill me in the past. 1 of you succeeded.
The game piracy was a huge problem in the 80s and 90s, especially in Asia. Unlike most Western countries and Japan, many Asian countries didn't have piracy laws. There was nothing enforcing that $250,000 warning every time they popped in a VHS.
It's $250,000. Wait, what does this say? Oh, but this is motion. Okay. Criminal copyright infringement is investigated by the FBI. Wow, I didn't even know that. And may constitute a felony. Wow, that's diabolical. I actually had no idea it was a felony. With a maximum penalty of up to 5 years in prison or a $250,000 fine. I guess I could see where they're coming from, but this seems quite extreme, honestly. Like, well, I mean, to be fair also, it's like, you can't have people just, like, getting free copies of everything illegally. I mean, then what would be the point of buying it, you know?
So at the time, 90% of all software in digital entertainment was pirated, which means if you were a game developer and you had 1 million people playing your game in certain parts of Asia, it was likely that 900,000 of them didn't pay for it. Not a great way to make money. But there were many reasons for this. Cost of living differs greatly between countries. I mean, imagine paying $50 for a video game when you're...
Oh, I'm assuming this is back in the day, because this is diabolical. $300. Income per month, $300. Yeah, that's definitely a number. Let's just say that. Oh, wait, how much was... Okay, so this is saying... Wait, rank number 1? Oh, okay, so yeah, this is definitely just at the time, because there's no way number 1 country of average income is 15,000. Wow, that just puts in perspective just how much inflation has hit. That in 30 years, the average income has gone up by a ton.
Between countries. I mean, imagine paying $50 for a video game when your monthly salary is $200. So Western publishers did try selling games with prices that reflected the local cost of living, but pirates would just travel to those countries, buy copies in bulk for huge discounts, and then sell these games in the States. And as I'm writing this, I remember going to a swap meet in 2005 and seeing Star Wars Battlefront, the first one, for like $20 right after it came out. It was in a janky looking case, but I didn't care. The game was half the price that it was at GameStop. And I'm just realizing that it was probably purchased somewhere in Asia and shipped to that dinky swap meet for people like me to purchase. So we can see that the rampant piracy in Asia and the rise of the internet, up and coming Asian publishers really needed to innovate to succeed. And the first company to do it was Nexon. Unsurprisingly,
I have no
Nexon
idea
was a
what
Korean
Nexon
company,
is.
one of the countries most affected by piracy, and they released the first digital free-to-play game called Quiz Quiz in 1999. This MMO set off a chain reaction, setting in motion a wave of Asian free-to-play games. Nexon had finally figured out how to monetize video games in Asia, and they didn't stop there. Nexon went on to create MapleStory, the first pay-to-win game in 2003, which was also the first game to feature loot boxes inspired by the real-life Gachapon toy dispensers. But while many Asian studios were innovating, the West continued as if nothing had changed, selling physical games in retail stores, because if it's not broke, don't fix it. But it was broke.
Wow, wait, Call of Duty was 16 plus at one point? That's crazy. Honestly, I don't know how... I wasn't really around for, like, the whole... You know, I wasn't, like, young enough to really experience the whole... What am I saying? Okay, I wasn't old enough to... Okay. Never mind. The point is, I wasn't really around the time where it was like, ooh, go to GameStop. I mean, I remember when I was like, maybe like 10 was like the last time I actually went to GameStop to get games. Because then, by then it was kind of over. Let me think. What year was it when I was 10? Well. Oh, well, never mind. I lied. Because that would make it... Whoa. What year is it? 2025? Oh my god, I'm confused. Wait. Okay. That doesn't make sense. That means it was 2017. That's wrong. There's no way I was 10 in 2017. That's no way. Okay, it's definitely real, but wow. Okay, what the hell? That's crazy. I'm just having a midlife crisis. Every time I think about my age, it's like, oh my God. Like when I look at 2025, I'm like, dude, I still haven't processed this 2025. Like it's just like, what happened? It still feels like 2024, and even 2024, I felt like 2020. Like it doesn't feel like time's moved at all. And then you say something like, "Oh yeah, I was 10 in 2017." You think, "Wow, 2017? That's only like 3 years ago." Oh, wrong, wrong, wrong. Just makes like it just makes me like just completely like have a midlife crisis, borderline. It's like, oh God. Anyways, that is such a distraction.
The West may not have had as much rampant piracy as Asia, but I remember the good old days of Pirate Bay and LimeWire. You'd have a dedicated computer for all your games, music, and viruses. So the US still had piracy, enough that the music industry was actually failing in the 2000s because of it. That
Wow.
said, piracy wasn't the only problem with the Western status quo. You see, the industry was growing, and companies wanted more people playing their games, but $50 price tags were keeping a lot of people out of the gaming market. So the other problem was price elasticity of demand.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. What is this graph? PDQD? What is the D? Okay, that sounds a little suspicious. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. Quantity, price, like what? Quarter one maybe. Quarter one, quarter. I don't know.
What the hell is even that?
Basically, it's a way to measure demand for a game. So if the price of a game is $50, you can see only half the people who want to play a game will buy it. If the price goes down, the player base will go up. So if you give your game away for free, you maximize your player base. But if you give your game away for free, then you need to make money elsewhere. And Western studios just couldn't wrap their mind around this concept yet. Executives would sweat anytime they ever heard free to play. And in business, we call this an innovator's dilemma. This is where League of Legends comes in. Asia was popping out free games left and right, and the companies making them were raking in the cash. Riot's founders, Brandon Beck and Mark Merrill, the creators of League of Legends, saw the free to play model working in Asia and came up with a genius plan. They decided to create an optimized version of Dota, which at the time was a Warcraft 3 custom game with a massive player.
I don't know. When I think of the words degenerate, think of the games. Well, when I think of the games mainly, I should say. Let's rephrase that. When I think the games Dota, World of Warcraft, and oh, dude, it was said in the video. What is it called? Great. Now I don't remember. I mean, oh, dude, what is this game? League of Legends. Dude, oh, that took way too long. Those three games are games that I just picture the grimiest, like, dirtiest gamers ever playing. Like, I don't want to associate myself with it. I don't even know why. I mean, I've never played them, so I have no idea how bad they are, but, like, there's this image or, like, reputation with these games of, like, they're weird, like, bad or something. I don't know, but, I don't know, it's just, like, look at this guy, dude. He looks like he hasn't, like, kept with his hair at all. He just looks like he's just been sitting there for like hours. I mean, to be fair, that's what a lot of people do. But I feel like the people who play these types of games are particular. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I don't know. I just that's why I'll never play League of Legends. I do not want to associate with this community that is probably dirty and musty. Like, I'm good off that. Good. Also, I don't know, by the way, I've heard that League of Legends is very addicting to the point where people sink thousands of hours into it. And frankly, prefer not to get addicted to a game so severely that I have to sink hours and hours. Well, okay, that's a lie, because every time I've ever said, by the way, oh, I'm not going to get addicted to a game, and I play it, and it turns out to be great, it's like, dude, I end up just spending way too much time. I'm not gonna lie. You know, everyone has their problems, right? Everyone has their addictions. Video games and YouTube are my addictions, and music. But mainly video games. I'm gonna be a man and say, hey, it's an addiction, like a problem. Well, it's not severe though, that's the thing, because I can definitely go days without playing it, but, you know, it's not something I normally do, you know? That's just a thing. I don't know. I feel like people overreact though and just assume that if you play a couple hours a day, you're automatically addicted. I think addicted is when you play constantly and it's like the only thing you really want to do or the thing you rely on the most to do in your free time. Like often, like I find the way I see it is like for me, it's like I don't really want to do other things. I just want to focus on playing video games. That's like the only thing that's on my mind usually. Like, I hate saying it, but it's true. That to me is addicted. It's like when you're on drugs, you know? But these people are like, oh, you play a couple hours after getting off work. Oh, you're addicted. Like, that's kind of ridiculous. You can't just say that. There was a phase where every single news was saying, oh, your child's addicted to video games, and it made me so annoyed. Ugh. Disgusted. These people be throwing the addicted word too harsh.
Base, me included. They knew people loved the game, even though it was a janky experience. First, you had to purchase Warcraft 3, then you had to go to custom
this is
games
World
and
of
try to
Warcraft,
find
by
a
the way.
lobby featuring the Dota mod. Then when you finally found one, you could run to Taco Bell and back before the game even loaded.
Oh, never mind,
So
it's
Riot's founders knew
Warcraft.
they had a great gameplay loop they could optimize, but they also knew that League needed to be free to play. The founders took this idea of free to play Dota and with just a wireframe and a pitch, went to investors. Some were confused, thinking players would never spend money on cosmetic purchases. Others, however, were blown away. Mitch Lasky, one of the first investors in Riot, put it this way.
And they understood not only the free-to-play concept, but they understood how to bring an audience to the table to prime the pump of free-to-play.
So these investors didn't throw millions at Riot because the game looked good, but because Riot proved they knew how to make free-to-play work. Which is why League of Legends is one of the most pivotal games in history, for better or worse. So with League's success...
There is no way that's MasterCard, I believe that's what it is. I believe that's what it's called. I know it's on my card, but whatever it is, I think it's just MasterCard. There's no way they're sponsoring this stream. It's ridiculous. Sponsoring streams. Oh, great. What a great move. Honestly, I just don't get... By the way, I've never understood why people watch streams of people playing into tournaments, because, like, dude, I don't know, it just doesn't seem interesting. Like, Fortnite tournaments, oh, I can never say the word tournaments, and it's pissing me off. Tournament! Okay, there we go. I remember when Fortnite had their big tournament. Okay, I'm not gonna say the word. Championship, let's just say that. It's like, how can you watch it? It's so boring. You're just watching other people play a game. Like, I guess good, but like, you know, I don't know. I guess it's just me. I don't know.
And the introduction of free-to-play in the West, pay-to-win was right around the corner.
Champions can fall, gods can bleed. Where were you?
Especially with these announcers, bro. Like, listen to this announcer and tell me, oh, wow, this is adding so much.
When the West rose up to conquer champions.
The
One of my-
West rose up. Okay. Yeah, I was just like, I'm hearing that, I'm thinking, what is this? This is cringy. I don't know. When there's announcers, I think that's the problem. With the announcers at, like, championship things, it's like, dude, they always just make it, like, super... It just makes me think I'm watching, like, I don't know, like, a sport, but I'm not. I'm just watching people click buttons. Like, ooh, wow, that's, it's great. Like, they're hyping it up like it's so exciting. And it's like, dude, it's not that. I think that's the problem. Because
My
he's
favorite
talking about, oh, the
experiences with
West
pay to
is...
win happened
Okay,
a
he's
few
talking...
years
Oh my
ago. I
god,
was
stop. He's talking about the West rose up and dominated. Like, dude, it's not that serious. It's a game, bro. I honestly don't understand... Well, no, that was English. Don't understand that. I think that was right. Honestly don't know. My brain is cooked today. My brain today is particularly cooked, so I'm probably not going to say the most coherent things ever. I should have said that earlier.
Visiting Yosemite, when I overheard an elderly woman...
Oh my god, it's called Yosemite? Oh my god. Okay, the reason why I say that, by the way, is because Travis Scott has a song, right? Okay, that's the only reason why I know this place exists. And I've always called it Yosemite. Okay, so it's Yosemite. Or, I can't even say it. How did you say it?
happened a few years ago. I was visiting Yosemite
Yosemite, okay. The more you know, Yeah.
when I overheard an elderly woman pleading with her husband to give her $3. I guess she had been struggling to beat a Candy Crush level and needed to buy some gold bars to
Oh
help
my
her win.
God.
He muttered something under his breath, but he handed her his credit card.
What?
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This 70-year-old woman was being manipulated by Candy Crush, and based off the interaction with her husband, it wasn't the first time. In that moment, I realized that anybody could be swindled by pay-to-win mechanics. I mean, Candy Crush at its
I'm not gonna lie, Clash of Clans is the first game that comes to mind with pay to win because I've almost spent money on the game like probably like way too many times. In fact, there was a time where I almost like I was putting in the information on my card. And I realized, what am I doing? I think the problem for me, and this is what I think, is I know myself too well. I know that like cosmetics don't work on me first off. I've always found cosmetics in games stupid because unless you're dedicated to the game and you're playing that hundreds of hours and you plan on sticking to it, you should never invest in cosmetics because once you leave the game, it's like, well, now you have nothing. I'm okay. I mean, personally, I think it's like, that's why I like Battle Passes, I guess, because, you know, with Battle Passes, it's like, you know, you get a ton of stuff for a reasonable price. And even though it's not all good, you're going to have stuff that you have variety. But if you just buy one skin, let's just say you're playing, like, I don't know, Fortnite, you decide, I'm going to buy stupid one skin. Like, that's stupid. Oh, and then if you decide, oh, I'm going to buy, like, 5 skins from the item shop, it's like, dude, you could have just bought a Battle Pass, got 5 skins. Now, I know the Battle Passes nowadays suck, but that's not relevant. The point really goes down to is with cosmetics, it's just like, I don't get why people buy so many cosmetics, because once you leave the game, you'll never, like, all that money you spend is just gone. Which I think is kind of, like, sad, because now you just invest in something that's not permanent. Like, you're never going to permanently play a game. I shouldn't say that, but because there's people who've been playing Minecraft for, like, 10 plus years, but, like, the average person will not stick to a game for 20, 30 years. There's no way, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you can make the argument that, like, oh, you only need to play the game for, like, a couple hours and you get your money's worth, but I don't know. And also, how do you define money's worth in a cosmetic? It's literally just pixels on a screen. Like, is it really that serious? Like, oh, wow, people reacted to my pixels on a screen. Ooh, that was money's worth. Like, is that how you define money's worth in there? I don't know. I don't get it. I honestly don't understand. But the whole pay to win thing is very annoying because it actually kind of works on me low-key almost. Because, like, you know, it's like, Because what they do with pay to win is they make it inconvenient for you. Every single game does this, where they make this addicting loop where it's like, oh, this is fun. I love this game. And then you start progressing in it and it slowly becomes more and more tedious until it just becomes stupendously annoying. And it's like grindy as hell. And you're like, well, I already put so much time in. And you want to get to the end, but you know you really can't without spending like way too many hours. And by the time you put in all the hours, they probably updated the game to make it even more time consuming. So the problem is with that is that you know if you pay, it's like, oh, well, I'm skipping all the nuisancery while still enjoying the game. That's why pay to win works, because they purposely make it so that the option to pay is so much more convenient. Which is very frustrating, because the amount of games I've played where I actually liked them, it's ridiculous. Clash of Clans somehow, some way, Clash of Clans has made it so that it's actually somewhat enjoyable to play the game without paying. It's actually a little, in my opinion, well, I don't know, because I haven't paid anything really in that game, so I don't know, but like, it's probably much more satisfying to play without paying than to pay with paying. I don't know. I don't know if that's really true, because I have to do an experiment to really get the results, and, you know, I'm not trying to spend hundreds of dollars on a game, a mobile game.
Peak was pulling in $1 to $3 million a day with in-app purchases. That's almost $1 billion a day.
$3.9 million worldwide? Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. Didn't he just wait? He's saying a bigger number.
Crush at its peak was pulling in $1 to $3 million a day in-app purchases. That's almost $1 billion a year.
That's
this
sad.
is what happens when you have companies that can manipulate you so well you don't even notice when it's happening. And the worst part, they're teaching others their tricks.
Some of you will probably be slightly shocked by all the tricks I have listed here, but I'll leave the morality of it out of the talk.
You know it's going to be a gnarly presentation when the guy starts with, let's not think about the morality of this. And he doesn't. This presentation on how to monetize free-to-play games really outlines everything. In-depth industry secrets on how to use psychology to trick people to spend money. The whole time watching this, all I could think of was the old adage of the frog in the pot.
Oh, okay.
If you put a frog in the pot of boiling water, it'll jump out. But put the frog in cool water and gradually heat it up, the frog will boil to death.
Wait, whoa, okay. That took a little bit of a dark turn. I did not... Is that really a saying? Okay, why? Why did someone do that? Why? Okay. I guess it's good for a science experiment, but the fact that someone is literally recording themselves do that, probably. I don't know. Because you cut the footage, but like, dude. That's just sad. Why would you ever... Okay. I don't know. That just seems very, like, depressing to just boil a frog alive just because you wanted to test something. Like, really? Are we really that sad of a species?
Put the frog in cool water
My answer is yes,
and
by the
gradually
way.
heat it up, the frog will boil to death. Or as the presenter puts it, you hook the gamer first with something irresistible, then you create a habit with an easy and rewarding gameplay loop, then pounce when the game becomes a hobby, because players will do anything to win or progress. It's crazy to outright hear it, but it gets even better.
Top grossing games have in-game economies worth tens of thousands.
Meaning,
Oh. Make it possible to spend $1,000. Oh my god. You know what the worst part is? $1,000 in most games, like free-to-play games, is nothing. You could spend way more. Oh my god, that's just like depressing. And the worst part is people spend all their money on stuff.
the more players can spend on a game, the more you'll make.
Make stuff immediately useful, immediate gratification.
So you don't want them thinking about the purchase.
People are much more attached to the stuff they have than an equal amount of things that they can gain.
We are more likely to pay if you threaten to take something away.
So this is...
And that's why Fortnite succeeded, by the way, because the idea of, like, that's why the whole item shop, the OG item shop, not the modern day item shop, but, you know, back in the day, the item shop and the battle passes actually worked back then so hard because we knew, hey, they're not gonna, like, we're not seeing this. We could potentially never see these items again. So everyone was, like, constantly buy all the new stuff to get them in case they became rare. Now it's like, that's a whole different issue. Now it's like, you know, it's just like, there's just so many skins and they keep remaking like old stuff that used to be rare that just doesn't nothing has value anymore. That's the problem. I don't know why they did that. I'm kind of upset about it. I don't know. I think they crossed the line. There's a lot of things Fortnite did wrong. I'm not gonna lie. In the recent years, the whole shoes thing, it's too far. I think the problem with Fortnite is too is that they're making way too much money. Like way too much money, and because of what they do, everyone else is like, ooh, that's a great idea, let's copy it. And I'm worried the shoe thing is going to start carrying over. I don't know if it really was that successful, but they keep on trying to get people to buy shoes. Like, oh my god, you could spend, in theory, the same amount of money. Well, yeah, you're going to get crappy shoes in real life, but like $20 for pixelated shoes. You could drop $20 on a mediocre pair of shoes, and hey, you got shoes. Like, or oh, think about it this way, like, I don't know, it's like you're paying all this money for what? Shoes. The thing that no one's looking at in a game. No one's looking at your feet going, man, I love looking at feet for those shoes. In real life, you know, people are weird and they look at your feet first because, you know, well, what shoes you wear? Never understood that. I don't know why it's such a big hype to look at your feet first. It's weird. Anyways, I don't know. And this, wait, so this is social proof. What's the line for? I don't know. I just saw everyone stand here and figure it must be good. If people are like this, then it's proof that they're sheep. They're in the herd, you know? They're just following the herd, you know? Yeah, ideally, you'd be your lone sheep. Okay, I hate that analogy so much. I hate the whole sheep thing, which kind of works. No, but seriously, do people actually do this? I don't know. There's no way people actually just do things just because... Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. No, because that's definitely true, but I'm talking about line, like in particular this line. Like, why? Why would you ever do
animals, we tend to do what all of the others do. Absolutely do not want to tell them that the majority of people in your game never spend money. That's poison. Never tell them that.
And my favorite of all,
make sure that your games aren't too skill-based.
the craziest part about all of this is that what he's talking about isn't even the worst of it. It's terrible that game studios have taken these strategies and turned most free-to-play games into pay-to-win. But somehow, pay-to-win has also infected full-priced games.
Yes, that's what I was going to talk about earlier. I forgot about it. Like, I think the problem now is that like games like Call of Duty, which are packaged for $70, have transactions. Like, dude, you're getting a ton of money from overpricing your game in the first place, and then you're demanding, well, you're not demanding, but you're giving all these options for all these stupid little skins that don't belong in your game. Call of Duty is the worst offense. Like, I can't think of another game that I'm more offended by microtransactions in. Because, like, $70 is overpriced for their game, and the skins are just so crappy, and they don't belong in the game. Like, Modern Warfare, you don't want to see, like... I got so mad when Modern Warfare 2019 started having stupid hentai skins in there because, like, well, it wasn't actually hentai, but it was borderline in my opinion. But, like, you know, that stuff in there in a what's supposed to be like a Modern Warfare setting where it's like, hey, this is a realistic setting somewhat. Like, we do not need Nicki Minaj. This is where it's getting ridiculous. And the worst part is people are actually spending money on this. So they can keep doing it because they know they'll just finesse people out of their money. Like, I don't know why this is a thing. What idiots are actually purchasing these things? I don't know. To be fair, no, I can't even defend Nicki Minaj. You can't defend that. If you're buying Nicki Minaj and stupid Call of Duty, you're weird. I don't know what else to say. I cannot defend it. I just can't get in the mindset of these people.
2, you're not only having to pay to play, but they want you to keep paying. Sound familiar? We seem to have come full circle. We are somehow back in the arcade days where I'm more likely to just watch someone else play because it's too expensive for me to keep up. And I know that you know who really took this pay-to-win model to a new level. The two-time worst company, EA. EA saw all these free-to-play games using pay-to-win strategies and thought, we could do better. At first glance, it didn't seem like a big deal. Like the cosmetics in MapleStory, who cares if someone wants to pay for a purely visual change? But over the years, loot boxes went from simple game additions to full-on progression systems. It was finally perfect in the eyes of EA. They were following the advice of a very moral presenter when he says,
the reason I highlighted convenience up there or progress is that most of your sales will be here. Customization, hats and stuff, they're nice, but you'll have a single-digit percentage of your income coming from that.
You make the real money monetizing progression systems, not cosmetics. So EA shipped this new model with the brand new game, Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh my god, that's why the Battle Pass system works so well. Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. That's crazy. The Battle Pass is doing two things at once. It's getting people tricked into spending all their money into it because they think they're getting a ton of good stuff when a lot of Battle Passes are just mediocre at best. They're just filled with mediocre trash with a couple great things. But the worst part of Battle Passes is that you have to complete them to get the rewards, so people are gonna spend money to get through the Battle Pass so they don't have to actually play the game. Oh my god, the Battle Pass is genius. That is genius. Because think about it, all the streamers, I mean, okay, streamers are very minority people, but even, like, just look at the streamers, right? Almost every streamer you watch who plays Fortnite, for example, does not just go and play the Battle Pass like normal. They instantly buy all the tiers. I guarantee there's many people who do that. Because they don't want to have to grind it. Even though, honestly, the Fortnite Battle Pass, by the way, I should mention, is probably the best Battle Pass there is on anyone I've seen in any game. Because they actually, for the most part, value your time. Like, it's easy to level up. You get, like, in-game currency back so you can afford another one if you max it out, which is not that hard, like I said. To get to tier 100, it takes, like, 20 hours, maybe. I mean, that's if you're, like, not even trying to get XP, in my opinion. But, you know, a lot of games don't do that. They make this, like, very annoying level-up system that takes way too long, and they have even worse skins and nothing great in them. So, I don't know. That being said, there's still value in buying them because you're still getting stuff. I mean, Battle Passes will almost always be like actually worth buying if you have nothing, you want skins, you know? because they just give you so much stuff for what you pay for. But the day when that stops happening is when it's over. That's when it's bad.
Battlefront 2. 12 years after I purchased the first Battlefront game at a swap meet, I found myself reading article after article about Battlefront 2. Everyone's conclusion? The game was pay to win. People lost their minds.
Controversies just won't stop coming.
I would recommend not buying this game just because of the anti-consumer practices.
EA tried to save face, but the backlash was immense, so EA backed down. Loot boxes were grabbing the attention of governments. Was pay to win leaving AAA games? Were we finally free?
Smeagol's free!
Nope.
Although we won against EA and loot boxes are disappearing, all sorts of games continue to hide pay-to-win mechanics in their games. So pay-to-win isn't going anywhere. Unless governments step in or studios
Okay,
find
there's
a more
no
lucrative
way a
solution.
government's
Which
gonna
brings
step
me
in.
to my final piece. We need an ethical and lucrative solution to get
I'm not gonna lie, why would the government step in this scenario? Because there's way bigger things they should be stepping in for. For example, gambling. You could argue gambling is significantly worse than any pay-to-win thing. The reason why I say that is because gambling is an addictive thing, and most people who start doing it think they'll win. And they almost always lose. With pay-to-win, yes, you're losing money, but at least you're getting something out of it. Guaranteed. There's no, like, hey, this is going away, potentially. Unless you stop playing the game, then it has no value. Which is why I still believe that you should just not buy these things unless you plan on, like, being stuck in the game for a while. I don't know.
get rid of pay to win. Just like before with the introduction of the free-to-play model, game studios are stuck, and they do not know how to overcome it. With inflation rising and costs soaring, studios need to make more money on their games now more than ever before. But they know if they raise the price of their games, they'll cut off large chunks of their player base, which is why it took so long to see games rise above $60. But these game companies should also know.
And the worst part is this new rise of games that are overpriced, as I say, are almost always super bad. I don't understand how you can make a game that's cost $70 and proceed to make the worst content. That's why if something's priced over $60, I instantly say, I am not buying this. I'm not going to risk it. Don't even care what the game is. If it looks appealing, no, I'm not buying it. $70, too much. I've learned my lesson with that. Because it's almost every game I've ever seen that's been a major flop has been way too high of a price. Just how it goes. I don't know why. I don't know. Wait, Draugr helmet? Isn't this from Skyrim? I don't know.
If they keep going down this road of pay to win, they'll destroy their brand and future sales. Short-term thinking is hindering
Oh, that
their
was probably Elder Scrolls Online. Whatever.
potential. The hybrid model trend and the excess of manipulative monetization strategies can't last forever. Gamers are starting to wise up. So these companies are in a pickle. They need to think long-term, but don't know how. This is where true innovators shine. When you're in that pickle, you are forced to find creative solutions to unique problems. Those that don't will die or be bought by those that do. This is why League of Legends was so successful and why I'm so bullish on indie studios. When you're small, you have to innovate to succeed. And whoever creates a great game that doesn't limit a game's value like pay to win, but adds value in a unique way will become like Doom in the 90s or League of Legends in the 2000s. A beloved game that changes the entire industry. As part of our tradition, we like to feature indie games at the end of our videos. And this time, our community chose the timeless free-to-play gem, Cave Story. Despite being released 19 years ago, Cave Story remains a pinnacle example
I've
of
actually
indie
heard
game
about
development
this.
and has forever altered the perception of where exceptional games can originate from. We couldn't think of a more fitting choice to feature. You can play the game for free on PC or pick up a copy of
it's
the game
free.
on the Switch. I highly suggest it. And
So that's what I'm confused about. How is this game free? Like, I don't get it at all. Why unfinished games keep making millions? Well, okay, I do wonder this, but I think I already know the answer. It's because they sell the idea of, hey, there's promises. They promise, hey, there's gonna be all these features. It's gonna be great, and you go, oh wow, and then you also, it's like they hype up the thing, they make the trailers look nice. you know, and then you're like, ooh, this looks great, and you get fooled. I don't get how people keep getting fooled. That's the problem. For the last, like, 7 years, people keep getting fooled and buying crappy games that are unfinished. And they're like, oh, why does this game suck? Why do you keep buying games immediately on launch? You should just stop doing that. If a big studio is making a massive game and they're not known for the best quality, if they're not Rockstar or FromSoft, you should just not buy from them on launch. It's too risky because they might just, like, absolutely bomb. I mean, even Sony has problems now. Like, what the heck? It's such a weird issue. I don't get. People are weird. I don't know how they don't pay attention to this stuff. Like, it's so obvious. Whatever. It's a good video. Okay.